Welcome to the new 26 9 to 5 for this week. And Lord knows after last week, the bar has been set incredibly high for how the series will end. But we have to take this one episode at a time, of course. Which leads us to our official 199th episode of the show. Yeah, next week is 200. An unreal number if you really think about where this show was so long ago. But it's on to business. Uprooted is the name of our episode in question. And as we do, we go moral first. Now, this moral is kind of a heavy one. It's how you memorialize something. How you tend to want to. Many people look at the death of something as a reason to mourn and grieve. And some, depending on what it is, want to build a memorial and want to honor its legacy or its memory or whatever the case may be. We tend to do this with just about anybody, any kind of funeral. We tend to be sad. We tend to be devastated. And we find it hard to move on. But to memorialize something or someone is an even tougher job. What's the right way to do it? Well, the moral of Uprooted is this simple. It's not so much memorializing it in a physical sense. It's memorializing it in a spiritual sense. It's taking the things that the person or things make you think about and their best qualities and bringing it into your life day to day, remembering the memory of the loss through your actions and through what your actions would symbolize into their spirit. Thus, the student 6 must, with the Tree of Harmony, after finding out about its recent destruction last episode, the student 6 are called together dream style by the spirit of the tree to work together to memorialize it, to make sure its memory and thus its power is not lost to time. But, as is what happens when we try to memorialize or remember things, every member of the student 6 has a different idea on how to do it, each based on their own individual personalities. That is, except for Yona. As the others constantly argue on which way is right, Yona ain't doing that. And as things spiral out of control, it's Yona that ends up bringing the group together to realize the moral of the day. Taking the remains of the tree, they build a makeshift tree house. Cute. But the tree responds in magical kind and says, "Thank you. Let me one-up you," by turning its remains into a brand new tree house. That's right. Our tree is now home. Or at least a sanctuary. I don't know if this is the official name of it yet, but at least for the fandom, I'm going to call it the Harmony Sanctuary. And let's be honest, that's a much better name than anything Hasbro come up with the toys. And yes, I expect a toy set of this giant thing to be available very soon. But it's actually quite appealing. Right where the Castle of the Tree Sisters used to be, it's now actually a great thing in the environmental aesthetic. I like it. And it's through this that the spirit, memories, and the life of the tree lives on, even if the tree doesn't live on. And that's the notion of the moral. The moral deals with how we deal with loss and death. It's not easy. We all have different ideas on how to handle it and how to approach it. And we sometimes forget what made that person or thing important to us. It's a great episode, mainly because of the notion of when the show was announced that this, season 9, was going to be the final season of the show, the Brony fandom reacted in grief, in memoriam, in sadness. The announcement was not filled with happiness, it was filled with sadness and almost a cloud of death surrounding every passing day. And even after the premiere date was announced, the sense of prevailing death rotted the air. But as I said that day, yes, the show is going away. That we know. But the memories, friendships, and most importantly, the lessons this show has taught over 9 years, we all carry that. As a fandom, as a group, as part of its legacy. Gen 4's legacy lives in all of us. Every video we've created, every thought we've put to paper, every drawing we've done, this is the way we memorialize this thing, this small pocket in time. And it's through things like MLP forums and Equestria Daily that we have our sanctuaries, our places where the memory and spirit of what this show was and still continues to be can live on until the next generation to pick up its lessons and build its own legacy through its spirit. It's up to us to now build that sanctuary, and it's going to be up to the new fans to maintain it and keep it going. We all have different ways we want to honor the show, but the best way to honor the show and its lessons is to do as I've done. Live by them. Don't forget them. And build upon them. Sure, the pacing might be a little rushed. And the conflict starter might be a little mundane. but its message cannot be understated, not only to the fandom itself, but to many kids having to learn about the unexpected end of something and how to deal with it. The last third of this episode is genuinely heartwarming, and that's the thing that will stick with me. Although not as perfect as the last pair of episodes we got, Uprooted gets a 4 out of 6, but its emotional message, I hope, will gravitate throughout what remains of this season and beyond. Remember, it's up to us to build the sanctuary now. And it's up to us to not forget. What are your feelings on Uprooted? Tell me down in the comment section below, and make sure to hit the red subscribe button and the bell to keep up. Next week, we have some fun. Some real fun. The 200th episode of this series, Twilight 7. Until then, which will oddly mark the 700th video, I am Nirvana Sparkle. Find peace in your own Nirvana, and I'll see you next week.